Brand new week, my friends. Brand new outrages. Let's get to them. GOP elites are drawing up a secret plan to stop Donald Trump and Ben Carson. Obamacare levies fines on nonprofit hospitals that offer free health care to the poor. Muslims in Pakistan stone a pregnant woman to death. And Democratic presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders wants to raise your taxes. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and on YouTube and on Tumblr and in the book, Riell Truth, Stay Angry. And, of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. My friends, welcome back. Brand new week of outrage, of fiascos, each and every one of which concerns you and your family, so listen up. Item. From Agence France-Presse, Dateline, Jerusalem, Israeli police on Sunday began erecting a wall in East Jerusalem to protect the Jewish neighborhood subject to firebomb and stone attacks launched from an adjacent Palestinian village. Unquote. Well, my friends, the fact that they're building a wall obviously means that they're racist against Mexicans. That's number one. Number two, it used to be a wall separating Jewish land from Palestinian land, except the Palestinians have no land. They live on Jewish land. Now we're erecting walls within neighborhoods. Next, we'll have walls around specific houses or buildings. Where does the insanity end? Instead of increasing police presence and increasing monitoring and putting up walls around neighborhoods, what do you say we get rid of the murderers and terrorists? Does that make sense to anybody? Of course it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It makes sense in Israel. It makes sense in America. It makes sense in Europe, where there are basically no national borders anymore, and so they're being covered by a tidal wave of tsunami of Muslim jihadists. Young army-aged men are flooding into Europe, not senior citizens, not women and children, young men who are a Trojan horse invading army. Without boring, there's an expression in Judaism, good walls make good neighbors. Well, good walls are the very basis of national sovereignty, and if you ain't got it, then you ain't got any national sovereignty. And if you're building walls around neighborhoods to protect you from the bad guys, it's time to get rid of the bad guys. If people don't like it, they can lump it. But there are innocent human lives being lost to political correctness and politics, and I won't have it. Item. From townhall.com, GOP elites are drawing on fine cigars while drawing up a secret plan to crush top polling candidates Donald Trump and Ben Carson. Today, I'll let you in on a quiet movement within the upper echelons of the GOP to take down politically incorrect presidential candidates, especially Donald Trump and Dr. Ben Carson. Unless Common Core crusader Jeb Bush is your guy, and I hope he's not, you and I must expose this movement before it ends our vision for a people's advocate in the White House in 2016. Unquote. My friends, there's the political machine. It's got two heads. One is the Democratic head, the other is the Republican head, but it's one machine. It's one Leviathan. And they won't brook any competition. When you get guys like Trump and Carson who are not part of that machine, then the machine will seek to destroy them. Whether it's the political part of the machine, whether it's the media conglomerate part of the machine, they will go after them. And the fact that the machine hates Trump and Carson means that you and I should love Trump and Carson. Item from Breitbart. Sunday on ABC's This Week, Democratic presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders said his tax increases would hit everybody because he would raise the payroll tax to pay for paid family and medical leave. Unquote. In other words, there's another liberal who wants to give everybody everything for free. Of course, nothing is for free, just like he wants to give away college tuition for free. which means the families sending their kids to college won't pay for college. You will pay for those kids to go to college. I'm sorry, what's that you said? They're not your kids. Why should you pay for them? Oh, don't be a racist. Item from Politico. A few dozen reporters who regularly cover Hillary Clinton gathered last August to watch the first GOP debate at their headquarters in Brooklyn. MSNBC's Alex Seitz Wald stopped for a moment and looked around. A second later, he realized what seemed strange. He was the only man in the room. At least 18 national media outlets have female reporters on the Clinton beat, across print, online, radio, and TV, according to a Politico survey. Some, such as NBC, have as many as 3 women. Local outlets in Iowa and New Hampshire have female reporters on Clinton as well. No one can remember a political press corps this heavily female, unquote. My friends, let's talk common sense. Common sense tells us that the only qualification you need to be president is a vagina. What other qualification does Hillary Clinton have? Ask her voters. They want her because they want a woman president. Well, obviously, the same logic would dictate that in order to cover a presidential candidate with a vagina, apparently you yourself have to be the proud possessor of a vagina. That's why all these national outlets have women covering Hillary Clinton. How can you cover a woman if you're not a woman? All right, well, let's take that logic to the next step. How can you cover white male candidates unless you're a white male, right? Wrong. But doesn't it follow? Isn't it? My friends, if you're still thinking in terms of logic, you are in the wrong century. Item from the Examiner. Hillary Clinton had started faking a Southern drawl to speak to Southerners, just as she did during her last presidential run 8 years ago. The tactic drew chuckles, derision, and not a little resentment when she tried it in 2007 and 2008. But she was back at it again in Alabama on Saturday, putting on a heavy twang to express her contempt for Republicans. Unquote. My friends, my favorite was when she was speaking to a black audience several years ago and effectuated a black accent. Now she's talking to Southerns and she's doing a Southern accent. Wait, when she talks to a Jewish audience, I want to hear the heavy Yiddish twang in her voice. Then I'll know that she's just a genuine kind of person, just like her PR spin doctors say she is. It's Monday and it's Riell Truth. I'll be right back.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages from design system and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to greatplainssolar.com.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit with an air of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law incurring the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
Okay, Howard Riell. The show is called Riell Truth. You know it by now. You know what I stand for, truth, no matter who likes it. Now, you want major combat between two powerful intellectual forces. Well, I haven't got that for you. Instead, I've got one powerful intellectual force, Ann Coulter, talking to the nitwits on some TV show called The View, which in the past I've characterized as the yammering yentas. Anyway, you'll listen, they are basically intellectual children, and they're about to get their butts straightened out by Ann Coulter. Here we go. So, my friends, take a look at what's happening here. Ann Coulter has written this book, which I have read, and which I've urged you to read. It is overflowing with facts. Then you get these pinheads on The View saying, well, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all, which is not a bad comment if you're 3 years old. But instead of talking national policy and instead of talking facts, they're whining and complaining because they don't like what they're hearing. But they're not coming with facts or any kind of an adult, intelligent counter-argument. Let's keep listening. Now, this explains why I would never watch The View. Here's Joyce Behar. She's talking about Pakistani doctors. Someone explain to me what Pakistani doctors have to do with the discussion of illegal immigrants coming from Mexico and across the Middle East and Africa. We're not talking about taking in doctors or even medical students. We're talking about taking in uneducated slobs who go immediately to a welfare office. And by the way, while they're here, they expect that American culture will become their culture, and that's how they live. That's what's responsible for the horrifying spike in terrible crimes, violent crimes, other crimes coming from illegals. And here's Joyce Behar talking about doctors she's had who come from Pakistan. Like I said on my Facebook page, you'll go to Riell Truth Radio, you'll see it. These women are hardly intellectual giants. They're barely above the level of your average third grader. Let's keep listening. And I salute Ann Coulter's enduring this deafening roar of idiots. We don't need to bring in other countries' poor people. Exactly right. Exactly correct. Let's even go back a step. Why does a country permit immigration? After all, we don't need to have immigrants. We're not forced to let immigrants in. Why does any country permit immigrants? Why does any company, any corporation do anything? Why does any individual do things? For their own benefit. A country has a right to bring in the immigrants it wants and to keep out the immigrants it doesn't want. I know that because during the Holocaust, America wasn't permitting Jewish immigrants to come in, but that's beside the point. We're not beholden to let any third world garbage come in here because they want to or because if we don't do it, someone's going to call us a racist. We don't need to beef up the welfare rolls by bringing in the world's poor. Because if we say that's what we should be doing, and that's what we must be doing, my question is, how much will be enough? How many will be enough? After all, there are 7 billion people on the planet. There are about 318 million people here. Should we invite all 7 billion to live in the United States? Well, you're laughing, and that's because I'm trying to be ridiculous, but what is the number? Do we need to bring in another 100 million? 300 million? 800 million? Where is the number? The answer is America is weakened. America is crippled by bringing in the poor, uneducated, unwashed masses from third world countries. If you haven't read Ann Coulter's book, then you're really not entitled to an opinion because you don't have the facts in your hand. Get her book, read it. After you've read it, call me and tell me what you have to think. Let's finish up with this video because we're coming up on a commercial break soon. My friends, it's like cackling hens. That's why anytime I play a clip from The View, I always end up with a little bit of a headache. And I'm not sure exactly how you can watch that show on a regular basis, or who's watching that show on a regular basis, or why. I don't get it. Item from rollcall.com. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi signaled on Saturday that there could be an openness among at least some House Democrats to voting for Republican Speaker on the floor. She suggested the GOP turmoil could help put Democrats back in charge come 2017. Quote, I think in our caucus there is interest and support. There's an openness to a bipartisan approach to this, Pelosi said, unquote. That's exactly what we need, my friends. We've got the Democrats who have driven this country into the toilet. By all means, we want their input and how to undo the damage that they have created. Item. From the New York Times, Dateline, Washington, D.C., federal agents were still cataloging the classified information from Hillary Rodham Clinton's personal email server last week when President Obama went on television and played down the matter. I don't think it posed a national security problem, Mr. Obama said Sunday on CBS's 60 Minutes. He said it was a mistake for Mrs. Clinton to use a private email account when she was Secretary of State. but his conclusion was unmistakable. Quote, "This is not a situation in which America's national security was endangered." Unquote. Once again, Barack Obama is God, or at least speaks like he's God, because we've had all kinds of experts from law enforcement say that, yes, national security was endangered. But here comes Obama, who's got a political axe to grind, and he declares no national security risk. Well, Obama is a liar and a fool, and so I don't give credence to anything he says, and neither should you. Item from trueactivist.com. The Saudi ambassador to the United Nations, Abdallah al-Mulimi, spoke to BBC current affairs program Newsnight this week in an attempt to justify the country's horrendous human rights record. The Arab nation is currently planning to behead and then publicly crucify a 21-year-old protester who was a child at the time of his alleged crime. As if that weren't horrific enough, consider this gross hypocrisy. Saudi Arabia sits on the United Nations Human Rights Council. And as the interview demonstrates, many of the votes that allowed this to happen come from its friends in the West. That's our leaders, folks, unquote. Yes, it's the American politicians who are getting money under the table from the Saudi Arabians. Item from PoorRichardsNews.com. It's one of the lesser-known provisions in the so-called Affordable Care Act, but it's having a major impact on charitable hospitals. Obamacare actually levies massive amounts of red tape on hospitals that provide free health services to the poor, and it fines those that don't comply, unquote. So we're so concerned as a nation about getting health care for the people who can't afford it that the Obama administration is punishing hospitals that give free health care to those who can't afford it. Why is it doing that? Because it's not working through their program. Politics, taking medical attention away from the poor. Thank you, Barack Obama. And thank you to all the people who voted for him. Item from Shoebat.com. Farzana Parveen, who was 3 months pregnant, was pelted with bricks and bludgeoned by relatives furious because she married against their wishes. They watched Farzana being killed and did nothing, her husband Mohammed Iqbal told the BBC. There are hundreds of so-called honor killings in Pakistan each year. UN Rights Chief Navi Pillay said she was, quote, deeply shocked and urged Pakistan's government to take urgent and strong measures. I do not even wish to use the phrase honor killing. This is not the faintest vestige of honor in killing a woman that way. Mr. Iqbal described the police as shameful and inhuman for their failure to stop the attack, unquote. My friends, I think shameful and inhuman are the proper words to use, not just in regards to the police, but in regards to Islam. After all the police are doing is enforcing Islamic law. Islamic law says that if your daughter marries someone you don't want her to marry, you kill her, even if she's pregnant. You need to know this because that law is being practiced here in America and will increasingly be practiced here in America the more Muslims are brought here by Obama and the Democrats. And so expect to see this kind of thing happening here in America. And if you don't think it will, wait. Item from Agence France Presse Dateline Istanbul. Germany's Pegida movement, P-E-G-I-D-A, holds an anti-migrant rally Monday, a year from its formation, highlighting a European backlash towards the massive influx that heaps pressure on Chancellor Angela Merkel. Unquote. My friends, there's an old saying, you make the bed, you sleep in it. Europe threw open its doors to accept a massive influx of Muslim migrants. Enjoy them. Because you know what? There's no turning back. Once you open Pandora's box, all the evils in the universe fly out of it, and you can't force them back in. Do I feel sorry for Europe? Not in the least. We'll be back.
Well, once again, we see multiple violence. Islam is shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
All right, guys, we're back. Howard Riell Truth, and Riell Truth is exactly what you get. Now, because we're in the market for real truth, I want to tell some real truth about Islam. And if you want real truth about Islam, you would ask a Muslim, right? No, you wouldn't. You would ask Pat Condell over in England to hear some real truth about Islam. Go, Pat.
Well, once again, we see multiple violent templates from the religion of permanent affairs. Some things never change, do they? Once again, we see Islam self-detonate, if you will the expression, and show, once again, why it's about to welcome on this planet as an asteroid. Once again, we see thousands of Islamic nutcases take time out from beating up their wives to show their sensitive side. How? By smashing up the towns they live in, egged on by clerical ignoramuses whose motives are even lower than religion.
My friends, the only criticism I have of Pat Condell is that he's too nuanced, he's too subtle, he's just too nice. Item from the newsexaminer.net, Dateline DC. A former Secret Service agent whose new book is quickly climbing Amazon's bestseller charts said he's concerned about the state of the country and says it's time the public knows the real truth about our commander-in-chief, Barack Obama. Former agent Paul Horner, in his new tell-all book called The Black House, reveals what goes on inside the White House when the news cameras are turned off. In an interview with NBC News, Horner told senior political analyst Tom Downey that he is 100% positive that President Obama is not only gay, but a radical Muslim as well. Quote, everyone on the inside knows Obama is gay and a Muslim. It's common knowledge, Horner said. I saw many men coming and going from Obama's room at all hours. I would say a good portion of the men, over 50%, were Muslim. Downey says, in your book, you talk about several rituals Obama performed to unwind from his busy schedule. Can you elaborate on these for our viewers? Horner says, quote, when no one was around except the security, Obama couldn't wait to get out of his suit and into his Muslim tunic. He would wear it while praying to the Prophet Muhammad throughout the day. During these prayer sessions, he insisted that he not be disturbed. Downey says, your book spends a whole chapter devoted to the various, quote, tortures that Obama and the First Lady would subject you to. Can you explain? Horner says, quote, because I was white, Obama would force me to listen to Diana Ross at full volume every day at all hours of the night. It was horrible. I never got any sleep. That's one of the main reasons I finally had to quit. Downey, can you give us any insight on Obama's feeling towards the American people? Horner, he constantly made jokes about Americans, frequently referring to them as mongoloids and idiots. Christians were his favorite verbal punching bags. He has absolutely no respect for the Christian religion. I believe he actually hates Christians and finds their ideology to be old-fashioned and ignorant. Downey, what are some of the things the public will find most shocking? Horner, probably the sheer amount of men he welcomed into his bedquarters. I am in no way homophobic, but Obama's insatiable lust for homosexual liaisons is like nothing I've ever witnessed. We're talking 10 to 15 partners in a single day. Downey, that's amazing. 10 to 15 in a single day? Wow. Horner says also at least once a day Obama would have us log on to Facebook and report a page about a dolphin named Fappy, who travels around the country speaking to elementary school children about the dangers and consequences of masturbation. It was all very, very strange stuff. Unquote. My friends, I got nothing to top that. We're going to take a commercial break. I don't know about you. I need one. We'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm on commercial break. This is where I'm going to cut off the video. Look for it online later. Share it. Talk about it. Comment on it. Hi, Mama Shayna. I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta luego.